Welcome into the Ringerverse. This is, of course, the Ringers Nexus podcast feed for all things fandom. We are Steve, the architect, Ahlman, the builder and tinkerer of things. We are Jomi, explain it. Adeniran. You've got questions, he's got answers. Old Man Van, he of the resurgent hairline, Coke, Baby Chuck, 24-karat closer. Together we are known as the Midnight Boys. Also on socials, Insta, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Jomi?
Yo, it's popping off over here. Last of Us, Andor, Thunderbolts. Don't get left behind.
Thunderbolts in there.
What do you mean?
Don't sneak Thunderbolts in there.
What do you
It's coming right
It's
up.
coming up. We're going to talk about it.
Next
If
week.
you don't want to miss it,
You excited, Chuck?
lock in.
Yeah.
Come on, Chuck. Come on, Chuck. Come on,
See,
Chuck.
there's a
Come
On
Chuck.
beat.
Come
On
on, Chuck.
beat.
Chuck saw all the good news and he was like, nah, it's
No,
fake.
you tried to
It's
sneak
payola.
in. We have two good shows. Thunderbolt still has to show and prove. But at this point, I done seen 45 minutes of the movie already from the fucking trailers.
Yeah.
You got to keep your eyes closed. You can't.
We're on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, share. You can watch every Midnight Boys and House of Art episode on youtube.com/@Ringerverse. Also on Spotify. Programming reminders. Programming reminders. I watched the movie before we get into it. A quick tangent, an early tangent. I watched
Right.
the movie. I saw the TV glow.
Oh, yeah, great
shit.
movie.
What'd you think?
How fucking disturbing
Yeah.
is a movie supposed to be? I submit that movie. Did you see it?
God, no.
Oh, it's
I
good.
submit-
It's really good.
I submit that movie is the only movie that has disturbed me to that degree since Donnie Darko came out.
Really?
It is Donnie Darko level.
Is that your pitch?
The vibes are there.
I'm not saying the movie's not good.
Uh-huh.
The movie, Justice Smith, Jesus Christ, bro. It's like fucking
He's going for it.
good, man. Like, the movie is good. Like, it's good and it's a descent, but I haven't been that like, Jesus Christ, creepy crawly, what the fuck is going on? Since
How do you
Donnie
get
Darko.
to that? Like, who recommended you? Like, you need to see I Saw the TV Glow.
It came from a Wikipedia dive that I did.
Oh.
Wait. Where
Okay,
did you
now
start
the-
on the Wikipedia? Doc?
I cannot remember.
Oh.
So I can't remember where I started on the Wikipedia dive,
Uh-huh.
right? And I ended up on the page of I Saw the TV Glow. And something happens to me sometimes when I'm reading the plot of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read the first couple of lines and then I'll stop. Because I'll be like,
I need to see
Gotta
this.
lock
I gotta
in.
see it.
Gotta lock in.
And like, if the first couple of lines, people should pay attention to this as you're writing these Wikipedia pages and stuff and these synopsises. If the first couple of lines are like intriguing enough, I'll stop and go like, I gotta watch it.
Mhm.
So it'll maybe like the first half paragraph, 4 or 5 lines. I'm like, oh, let's put this on. So I put it on and it was fucked up.
Yeah.
It's a fucked up movie.
Is it really good? Wait,
It's
I will
fascinating.
say there is a scene towards the end where like
Is this?
it's that one,
No.
and then when he's in the bathroom and it's like,
Fucking spoiled it.
You don't know what
Son of a bitch.
he's taking
all
it
right,
out.
this has been out for a year. Let's not spoil. But I will say, now you're talking about Wikipedia. Back when I couldn't, like, we didn't have that much money. I remember for fun. Sometimes I just like click on a movie, just like it just imagine it in my mind.
Like, I'm not even going to try to attempt to see this, so let's just read the wiki.
Yeah, I'm just gonna read a Wikipedia about a random movie.
What a freaked out fucking movie, though.
I'm
It's
glad
great.
you guys had that experience.
You didn't see it?
I will not be there.
The Ringerverse Button Mash returns on Mondays. Okay, Button Mash is going to be on Mondays. You guys are going to do that. Tuesday, Ringerverse Recommends returns. Oh my God, what am I going to recommend?
I don't know.
I saw the TV glow.
Maybe on Wednesday, the Midnight Boys react to the latest episodes of Andor.
Oh, yeah.
Andor and his adventures
Looking
are
up.
back. I want to say something. I want to start doing before we move on.
This is tangent number 2, by the way.
This is tangent number 2. I want to start doing just Midnight Defense. So I want to come on here and I want to make a statement. I just want to spend the whole hour. It's not Midnight Court. Just
Okay.
talking about the statement. So what I want to do, I submit to you right now that Curb Your Enthusiasm is the funniest show that has ever existed on television.
All right, not true, but I want to hear you defend this because I love that show.
Okay, so we can't do it now.
Right.
Well, this can't be post credits.
Can't do it now because I need more time. I submit to you
You got to gather to the fence.
that there are a couple of shows that are in this zeitgeist
Okay.
that are legit. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about legitimately hysterical.
So you're saying Curb is better than Seinfeld?
Yes. I'd
agree with that.
By a significant degree, by significant margin. I would think that's
really.
It's like what Seinfeld's funny.
Seinfeld is funny, but I feel like it's more contained. Where it's like Curb is long in the tooth. Hey, there's a lot of seasons where I'm like,
That's true. Also, I'm talking about all shows now, right?
Okay.
So early Chappelle show, is in this conversation, right? Okay. Early Chappelle show is in this conversation. Curb is in this conversation. Anyone. Give me something that's funnier than Curb and the ridiculous ways that
First
show
3 seasons of Arrested Development.
All right, Steve, you ruined it.
Yeah.
Well, I will say,
it's funny.
That shit is funny.
I think JB Smoove is the
JB Smoove's
funniest
the genius.
sitcom character act like we've ever had. Like, I'm just like, when he shows up on the show, I'm just like, oh shit. Like,
I'm willing to do this. Everybody pick a show. We'll have a battle of Midnight Boys.
Whoa.
Like Rumble.
Should we have either I feel like we should do a draft of the funniest TV shows.
Oh, we should. That's a good one. That's a good one. Martin's in there.
Wait. All right, wait. Curb is funnier than Martin. Damn,
there's not a lot of shows funnier than Curb. Like I don't.
It's hard.
It's very hard.
No. I think Early Office is like.
I
think Early Office
it's up there.
The Office is funny, but there's levels to this.
Oh, I think New Girl is funnier than.
Never seen an episode.
New Girl is great, but it's just a warm blanket.
I'm about to say that's your man.
Wow, that's your.
It's like I've never seen it.
You never seen New
There's
Girl?
a lot of ways that I support my.
I was at the
friend
Prince
LeBron
last night.
Like you've never seen New Girl?
I've never seen it. I've never
like that. To me, is like the perfect band show.
New Girl is?
Yeah. I think band, like that is actually his show. I'd be like, you're
gonna love Schmidt, bro.
Okay.
You're gonna love
Schmidt.
Okay. I'll check it out.
Oh, he'll be very upset with one Winston arc.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
White women?
It's worse. There's white women. There's police.
He becomes a cop? Okay.
He falls in love with a white cop.
Bro, she's not white.
Wait.
No, he falls in love with a
all right, that's enough. That's enough.
Oh, yeah.
This is post-credits now.
Right, yeah, sorry.
But on today's show, we give you our instant reactions to the latest episode of Last of Us. You guys, we're about to talk about Last of Us, and we're going to spoil stuff, but we promise. We make a promise. Steve put this in the document. I think it's very apt. We are only spoiling the game up to the show, you don't have to worry about any of our gamers here on the Midnight Boys spoiling something that would happen in the future. But we are going to be spoiling stuff that has happened on the show. Steve, run the spoiler warning. We're getting ready to talk about
The Last of Us.
You're listening to a reaction podcast. The spoilers are coming. Begin our reactions. Got to put you in the know. Only way to do that is the Midnight Manifest. Only person who can do that is Chuck Watkins.
All right, this is your Midnight Manifest for The Last of Us, episode 3 of the second season, directed by Peter Horr, written by Craig Mazin. Ellie wakes up from the death of Joel screaming, and then we flash 3 months later. The town is still struggling after the horde attack from the previous episode. Ellie is given a clean bill of health and returns to Joel's house, grief-stricken and alone. Dina arrives to reveal she lied to Ellie and does know more about Abby and her group than she let on at the hospital. Abby is part of the Washington Liberation Front, a small regional army based in Seattle. Tommy says Ellie has to ask the council about her Seattle revenge mission. Unfortunately, the council decides that the town doesn't have the resources to allow her to take a 16-man unit to Seattle in order to execute the Abby and the WLF members that murdered Joel. Ellie decides to take matters into her own hands with Dina and homophobic Seth and take on the mission herself. Ellie visits Joel's grave for the first time and then sets out with Dina on the road, but before they get far, they run into a group of murdered cult members in the forest. That's been your Midnight Manifest. My first question for you, Van. Obviously, second episode of this season was kind of everything that we've been waiting for, super explosive. How do you feel like the creators, did they land the plane on the third episode in terms of just like getting us where we need to go for, honestly, the second version of this show, a new version of the show?
They did something that was very important to do, which is they got us right back into story. which you would think would be difficult after losing such a major character. But you have to get right back into story. You have to say that this is a story that's worth telling without Joel. Okay? Which a lot of times with your main characters, it's hard to do.
Yep.
It's hard to imagine The Sopranos without Tony Soprano. It's hard to imagine Breaking Bad without Walter White.
Succession without Logan.
Succession without Logan. We've talked about this. It's hard to imagine. However, this show is not about Joel. It's about, he was the anchor of the show. It's really about the world and the choices that the characters have to make. So they have to reorient us to get back into the show without him. And they do a good job. Two things that they do that to me are very effective, and I'm wondering what you guys think. Number one, starting us with just a hint of the trauma from Joel's death. Tommy looking at his body, watch, things of that nature. Then a little time jump to where you assume that people have processed things a little bit more, and you see that literally Jackson is blooming again. The season has changed.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have people that are still negotiating the scars of not only what happened to Joel, but the attack, and they don't know how to move forward. So I thought that the episode had to do that, and it did do that. It was very important.
I mean, to me, if last week's episode, not to keep making the Thrones comparison, but this would be the episode 9 of Thrones. Episode 10 would be like kind of the calming down and everybody getting like put in position for the next season, right? But this is episode 3 of 7, so they have to like keep it moving. And to your point, they did a really good job of not only letting people be hurt by what happened last week, but also moving us forward in regards to Ellie and Dina and their journey to Seattle, right? I thought the episode was emotional, and I thought that it did an excellent job of putting us in that moment, especially with Gabriel Luna, Tommy, and he's got to like wash his brother's dead body. He relieves the other person, and he's there, and I was just like, dang. And then you get the shot of Bella Ramsey just like screaming their lungs out, and it's
gut wrenching. That was a gut wrenching
really
moment.
tough.
I was like,
I can't find
damn.
the words. It was hard. It was just hard to watch. And then again, 3 months later, we're supposed to just like, hey, yeah, I'm fine. I just thought the show did an amazing job of picking up where those characters are emotionally right after, 3 months later, and their journey going forward. I think this episode is a great palate cleanser to last week's.
The biggest impression that I get from this third episode is that Bella Ramsey by no means was a slouch performer in the previous season, let alone these first 2 episodes. But in the wake of a massive event that happens in this story, you can really see them rise to the occasion that this performance kind of demands of them. And I'm wildly impressed at how well Ellie is portrayed here. She is both like heartbroken and measured and like complex when she comes back from the hospital, trying to make sure that she can manage the result that she wants for getting a posse together to make this mission possible. She can like, when she's told to like write her thoughts down, she actually does it.
Yeah.
And she's taking into account all of the people that she would need to sway. And even when that doesn't go her way, it's an incredible sort of just like affirmation of her own will to just be like, okay, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna make this happen for myself. And like everything that gets us through this episode is carried on their shoulders, and I'm wildly impressed by it.
So for this episode, when Ellie and Dina end up leaving Jackson Hole, I had this feeling of I was like, I'm a little bit more interested in like Tommy and Catherine O'Hara and our boy Jesse. That was the weird thing when like I was so happy story-wise when they just flash forward 3 months later. I was just like, I don't know if I can.
You don't need to see her in the hospital for 3 months.
Yeah, once she did the scream, I'm like, this is emotionally enough. This is so arresting. Let's get the story moving, which I really, really enjoyed. But yeah, I think this is kudos to Craig Mazin. I was just like, I'm really interested in the council when Jesse gets to see how they're governing, who wants to do what. That was actually the moment I was like, oh, this is kind of like fascinating. Even Catherine O'Hara, it was such a like funny scene when she's watching the little kids play baseball, where it's just like, oh shit, they don't have sports teams here. So she's just like, this is.
I also love that she's just sat in left field,
Yeah.
like right near the like the baseline.
Them
Like
kids
they're
ain't
not
got
hitting
no.
it that far
Them
out.
kids ain't got no power.
Yeah, they're not
gonna
hitting it that far out.
There's
She's fine.
Yeah.
They got Shohei out there. Nah, man. I thought to your point about Jesse, the show did a great job of showing us, not telling us, right? Because they're rebuilding, right? And Tommy's trying to, get the hammer in the wood, whatever, and he can't do it.
Getting a
And
little
he's
old.
like, "Hey, Jesse, come through." And Jesse's like, "Bam, I got it." And Tommy
Thirsteds are going to go crazy for that one.
I'm cooked. I'm washed, man. I got it.
I love Tommy Luna as an actor. He's such a good, because even those small moments where it's like when Ellie and Dina come to him to like tell him about like, oh, we actually do know Abby, whatever. And he's trying to be like a good uncle and like fill this paternal role. And right as the scene ends, he looks at Dina and be like, don't ever keep information. I was like, God damn, he is cooking.
So I enjoyed the council scene. It was my favorite scene of the entire episode because while Ellie was able to deliver a really competent speech.
Well, I didn't think she had that in her bag. I'm not gonna lie to you.
What are you? She was not cooking.
I don't know.
Actually,
No, because that's not who she is. I immediately, when Jesse's like, write your thoughts down, be coherent, and just keep on script, I thought she would start off and like try it and then be like, actually, fuck you. Like just how she would
But that was important though, because that even though she was obviously being insincere, it was
Clearly
important to show that she could demonstrate a level of savvy and control when she needed someone to do something that she wanted them to do.
Yeah.
So there is at some point some discipline there.
Yeah.
To get to the end that she wants, right?
Even though it was all cap.
Even though it was all lies, she didn't get hyper emotional and lose herself and go into all. And we see that throughout the episode when she's walking out of the hospital and she's conning Catherine O'Hara's character to make her believe that she's okay mentally. And then the really great push into her face as the illusion of her being okay, like legitimately wipes away.
Yeah.
And the rage comes out of her. Now she still wasn't able to get people, to come with her to Seattle, but she was able to convince enough people to be on her side so that she had some support and going.
How do you feel when I was like, I love what Catherine O'Hara is doing, and I was a little like, oh, when she's talking to Tommy and she's basically like, yeah, some people like Joe, Ellie, lost causes. What are you gonna do?
It's tough.
I was like, hey, yo, I don't know if Ellie's a lost cause at this point.
I really need to give credit. I'm gonna shoot bail to the only therapist in the apocalypse in this town.
Nah, man.
Who's really trying her best.
They gotta train somebody else.
Yeah.
She was looking at
know.
Ellie. She was looking at Ellie crazy. It's like, oh yeah. You good? That's not what good people say. And I know it's a little bit in jest, but she don't care about Joel, man. Joel died. That's her op. That's tough.
I mean, yeah.
I'm sorry, Ellie. It's not. You're not the only person to ever lose somebody. That's kind of crazy, my man. You know what I mean? It's like,
She was looking at Ellie at that meeting when she was talking like this. Motherfucker.
And if you're in therapy, a lot of times your therapist does that to you.
Yeah.
You say something
They'll press you.
and they go, how profound? And you'll be like, you're not fucking with it, huh?
Yeah. And that's honestly,
and they'll be like, okay, now that you've said the really deep thing, let's get to how you're actually feeling. And then you go, I'm just in pain.
Yeah. It works every time.
You know what
It
I
works
mean?
every time.
So I mean, that's part of it. She's been, like she said, she's been doing it for 40 years. You're not going to be able to sit there. I don't give a fuck how like slick you think you are as a 19-year-old girl and talk circles around somebody that's dealt with all different types of people.
But to sit there and be like, yeah, she about to crash.
She cooked.
It's
Right.
But it's crazy.
Can I say something? The contrast to this in the game is actually like way more well nuanced in the show by comparison, because after Joel dies, we really only have an interaction with Ellie and Tommy, who was at Joel's death. It was him instead of Dina that was going to be like held there. You can kind of only see her anger at the situation, and like by all intents and purposes, she would have left like that next week. And if she didn't have anybody, like there wasn't a council, there wasn't an attack on Jackson, the town wasn't in a vulnerable enough place for her to also have sympathy for her cause because everybody loved Joel in town, but also the fact that she had people around her to be like, hey, she actually is really at the, like she has a chance to be lost here. And that's a lot more complex than it is in the game. And I really liked that being fleshed out here.
I liked the we talked about the counseling a little earlier, but it's 8-3 in the most like I'm watching it, I'm like, it's not happening, my man.
Oh, yeah.
You lost this battle. But the 3 is important. The 3 yeses were important because I'm pretty sure, like again, they don't tell us, but I'm pretty sure Tommy, Maria, and Jesse probably voted yes.
You think Jesse voted yes? Because Jesse was
I don't
looking
think
at
Jesse
Ellie
voted
like
yes.
you don't
Jesse
got
did not
to
vote
vote.
yes.
I think Jesse. I'm standing up for Jesse, man.
Jesse definitely
voted
voted
no.
no.
I think Jesse knew she didn't have the numbers. He was like, I'm gonna throw you this little pity vote so you can have it. Maybe not, but I would hope that after everything they've been through, I think he could be the homie.
No, Jesse looked at her after they like when he left, when he was helping her with the bag. Like,
I think Jesse voted no because he's a pragmatist, and
Mm-hmm.
and taking 16 people from that town.
That's crazy.
And leaving to go is a
It's nuts.
monumentally stupid thing to do.
It's wild.
He's trying so hard to just like let her have the like protest and like the appeal to the town without like outright shooting her down.
Yeah, you have to let her have her say.
Yeah.
Because you need her. She's never going to give it up.
Right.
So you realize that you're probably going to lose her to this mission. But taking 16 people and then going to wage war, killing Abby or killing that entire crew of wolves, and then expecting those people
To not get...
it's a war, right? It's a war at that point. Now, maybe, you let one person do it. Maybe it's going to be a war anyway, but it's such a stupid thing. It's such a stupid ask that I don't think that Jesse would.
From like a resources standpoint.
I mean, well, first of all, when the old white girl got up to start talking, I agreed with her. She's just like, hey, yo, we all love Joe, but we all lost some people. What the fuck are we doing? I'm like, she's
stands out. It's like,
what about old boy? He was like, well, I've been thinking we should go corn. Corn grows better.
I love that guy.
And then,
honestly, I want to hear him out.
It sounded like a Parks and Rec episode.
Yeah.
but he was making points.
But this is the nigga I want to hear from now.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking he's thinking corn, I'm thinking tortilla, I'm thinking all.
I was thinking the same thing.
What's the top 5 foods that we could make from corn? Because we got tortillas, we got popcorn now.
You got popcorn.
We got corn syrup. We could get it in some sugar.
Well, you get cornmeal. You know what I'm saying?
Cornmeal. Oh, you got all kinds of stuff.
Oh, alcohol.
You fry some corn liquor.
Oh.
Wait, so what are they? What are
Corn
they?
is so versatile.
What are the crops that they're making besides corn?
It's so versatile that we're probably eating too much corn.
Yeah,
high fructose corn. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so he's trying to get the fucking village back on track with the corn.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Y'all worried about the beef,
Yeah,
man.
we
We
gonna
gonna
eat
eat corn.
Marie was talking to it, like Marie and Tom was just like, hey, yo, fuck you and your corn. It's time for the real important conversation. I'm like, the corn is the important conversation.
No, we are rebuilding. We
going on an execution dummy mission is, I was just like, nobody hears. When I knew shit was going left, when Seth the homophobe stood up and he started talking, I was like, all right, y'all
You
don't
think he's
lost it.
overcompensating? You think he like felt really bad about it?
Hell yeah.
And he's just kind of like, hey, man, I said sorry,
but honestly, it was perfect because he said exactly what Ellie wanted to say.
Yeah.
Like Ellie would have said all of that if she just let it out.
I thought about Batman Begins.
Oh,
We'll see.
It's not justice, it's revenge.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Remember that?
yeah.
Like the difference between justice is about harmony, revenge is about making yourself feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always thought about that since they put that in the movie. I'm one of those people that I'll be in a hardcore actual argument with like my girl or somebody and be like, remember what they said in Batman Begins? You just want revenge on me. This not about,
I want
just the harmony. I'm the person that like,
Spin back Raw Talk Gould.
yeah, the whole nine.
That's when you know your boy ain't talking. Like he ain't saying shit when he starts doing this motion. You know.
Like, all right, cap, liar.
As an aside, there's a lot of wisdom to be garnered from movies. But I just want to let y'all know, y'all not cooking when you in a serious conversation about politics or something, and then you like bring up Jurassic Park. Like you're not cooking. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not cooking. Like you're not. There are certain movies that litigate really important societal things,
Right.
But you'll be talking to somebody after a while, and they'll be like, "Hey, just like what happened. Remember Ace Ventura?" I'll be like, my nigga, bro. Okay, we talk about Juneteenth.
Yeah. Why don't we just take inspiration?
What the fuck is going on with you gonna lose me, okay?
There were a couple years after Black Panther when niggas was just trying to do the Killmongers. I was like, all right.
Black Panther is one of the ones.
I was like, all right.
Because it was like, because look, here's what you don't know.
Right.
Here's what you don't know. You know, Disney, big corporation.
Uh-huh.
T'Challa.
Oh my God, we're doing this.
Oh,
we're not
no.
doing this,
Had
man.
the CIA with him.
We're not.
So what you don't know,
Open your third eye.
what you don't know is whether or not
Wake up.
they trying to say that, you know,
The Black Panthers needed the CIA?
Oh!
Oh!
What you don't know what Disney's really trying to say, right? You can't rule it out. You can't rule it out that there's some fucking exec
But
going,
brother Lathan,
what?
you got to remember, Killmonger, all he wanted to do was give back to the black folk around the globe, right? All he wanted to do was give back to his people.
Now see,
And they made him
The berets
kill
are
a
coming down
lady.
from the sky right now.
Once he was spitting true game.
but let me tell y'all
And the
something.
movie was like, whoa, we have to have him kill a lady, make sure that we know he's the bad guy.
But see, this is where
Keep your third eye open.
This is to me where Cougs and them come in.
Okay.
Because when you come away from that movie, rest in peace, our brother. When you come away from that movie, you think, oh my God, what's the way? Is the way, because really Killmonger won. Because all Killmonger wanted, we're going to get right back to Last of Us, guys. All Killmonger wanted
Right.
was for Wakanda to help. That's all he
That's
wanted.
all he wanted.
He's like, yo, we getting our asses kicked over
Yeah.
here. Y'all niggas riding around in spaceships. What the fuck? And in the end, he won.
Yeah.
He got.
Did he? I mean, he made it.
He
He made
opened-
a
he opened
community.
that set-
They,
Yep, the thing
like,
opened.
he
Guess what?
they got Black Panther to come over
and
there.
guess what? The only motherfuckers who got vibranium now are fucking government agents like Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes.
We don't know that.
Who else got vibranium?
They might have vibranium in Oakland right now. They might be ghost riding the whip. They might have. We don't know that. We haven't been back there. We don't know what happened to Oakland after the Wakanda.
I'm
went
so
there.
sorry.
We never been
The
We
back.
don't
worst-
know.
The worst scene in
Bruh.
that whole movie is when T'Challa and Shuri bring the spaceship to Oakland.
I love that shit. I love it.
I was like,
Because you know
nah,
what I thought about?
nah.
Hey, you know who I thought about? When they brought the spaceship to Oakland, I thought about Bub Rub and Lil Sis.
Oh wow.
Remember them? I thought about them with
You think Too Short got a vibranium whistle?
with the whistle. Y'all remember them? When they had the whistle mufflers on there?
Yeah.
I thought about putting the whistle muffler on the motherfucking Wakandan chip.
Oh my God,
bro.
bro.
Bub
I imagine-
Bub Rub in there? Is it Bub? What's his name? Bub
I
Rub?
think Bob Rub is right. I want like E40's probably out there with the Wakandans, man, doing community outreach.
If it was my movie, Shuri would they would land and Shuri would see some sisters like twerking on the street and T'Challa would be like, y'all don't have to do that.
I'm trying to say
Nah, but see, that's the thing. That's the thing. But that's the
You
thing.
don't have to do
That's the
this.
thing, though. T'Challa wouldn't say that. He wouldn't say that because if the sisters is twerking, that's actually connected back to Africa. You know what I'm saying? T'Challa wouldn't say that. T'Challa would see them twerking and he would be like, "Well done."
And then Preacher Boy walks through.
All right, we gotta get back. We on one this morning. All right, we back to Last of Us.
God.
All right, so Ellie leaves.
Wait, before Ellie leaves, I wanted to talk about something that was really interesting
Mm-hmm.
that Tommy says to Catherine O'Hara's character,
Mm-hmm.
where he almost obviously he loves his brother, he loves Joel, but he kind of hints at the fact that he always knew that Joel was a shoot first motherfucker, find the justification later.
Mhm.
And pointing out that while he loved Joel, there was probably something about his death that he brought about on himself. And I think a lot of this episode was even when the one homie got up and he's just like, yo, I don't believe in revenge. It doesn't lead to anything. I just thought it was very interesting for Tommy to be like, he lost his brother 3 months ago and to still kind of have the clarity to be like, yo, he was a soldier and I've seen him do things that this was always kind of the path that he was going down.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
Tommy has a larger responsibility.
Yeah.
And his responsibility demands that he put Joel into context. Because if you are trying to govern for the many or protect the weakest, then you have to take into consideration realities. And this is the part of leadership that's very tough for a lot of people. The part of leadership is easy to set yourself apart from people and be their boss, right? And be someone that they have to answer to. It's difficult to be their leader because when you are their leader, you have to take into consideration who they are. Like you just have to.
Yeah.
You have to, because you have to set people up for success. And when there are failures, you have to be able to look at those failures in a holistic way and say, hey, while it is in me emotionally to want to go and kill everybody who harmed my brother, I know my brother. And knowing my brother means that there were probably vendettas that he created.
Yeah.
That in this situation, I don't know how many lives are worth sacrificing for Joel's personality.
Do you think that calculus changes if Tommy knows what he did in Salt Lake?
No.
No? Okay.
No, because there's too much, he's got too much tape on him. Right?
Because we don't technically know whether or not Tommy knows that. By all accounts, we don't know if Joel has confessed that information to anybody.
But even when I was playing the first game, from what I remember, like Joel got like skeletons in his closet from being a soldier.
Yeah, he's a bad man.
And like Tommy, even in the game, is very much like Joel was kind of the hothead, and he's always been the brother who's like, that's him. Like, I don't know what y'all want me to tell you, and I think that's why it's hard for him to not raise Ellie, but be there for Ellie, because it's a foregone conclusion that this girl is leaving, whether he co-signs it or not.
But that's why the show did such a great job in that conversation with Catherine Hare, because Joel's like, or Tommy's like, this is who Joel is. Did he bring Ellie up to also be like this? Catherine Hare's like, no.
Yeah.
Man, these are two people who found each other, but through some cosmic coincidence are the same person, who are going to go in there, guns blasting first, asking questions later. There's nothing really Joel could have done to keep her from that. That's just who she is. So at the end of the day, like, you want to be like, oh man, did Joel do this to Ellie? Nah, man, that's just who she is.
That's who she is. And that might have been the reason why they connected.
Yeah.
Because he saw impulses in her that reminded him of himself. And she saw somebody in him that was an evolved version of who she was already, you know?
Maybe who she wanted to be.
Maybe who she wanted to be. So they leave. All right, they get on the horsey. First of all, let's talk about, before we talk about them leaving, the scene of her going back and going through like all of his stuff, nuts.
Man.
Been there. It like
having been there, I almost started tearing. I was like,
it was
this
weird.
is the,
It was bad. It was.
I'm like,
weird.
the first time you go home and they not there, I was like,
yeah, like it was weird. Like I literally went out. Like I went to my dad's house and the TV was still on. Right? He did, like, you know what I mean? The TV was still on. So I'm like, shit. Before they got him out of there, they didn't even. I was there 2 days after he died. Like, so he died on the 4th. I was actually home the next day. So everything was just as he left it. It's just a really eerie, really weird thing to do. But then I told you guys already, I found his porn and it made me feel okay. I don't know why.
He still kept the physical porn. He didn't go over to the internet.
This nigga had burned porn, like written in like
hell yeah,
like it was
hell yeah,
like he had burned porn, like he had like DVDs,
oh, like ripped. Okay, sorry.
And it was like Big Booty Hoes Volume 4.
Wow, he did
I
mixtapes.
was like, yeah.
Wow.
Did you pop one in just to be?
Yeah, I had to.
That's how you feel
I
connections.
had to give it up for the old man. I like, you know, I saw that because he had a DVD VCR combo. Where Pops, where were you living?
DVD VCR
yeah, DVD VCR combo. So I put one in, and the first person I saw, Cherokee ass.
Damn,
and
legend.
I was like,
legend.
Damn, Pops, I'm just like you. And then I took the CDs and I put them into my things.
See, now is this part of the family tradition of digitizing records?
Yeah, it's part of, you want to keep things for posterity.
I mean, before we move on, what are your thoughts on Cherokee Ass?
Legendary performer. Mount Rushmore for sure.
Do you know who Cherokee the Ass is?
Maybe.
Steve, I wasn't familiar with your game.
Steve, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Selma Steve.
The Selma Steve is back up.
That's funny. Nah, that's
Cherokee is 49. She's still
49?
Cherokee is 49, and
Still working?
I don't know if she's still working, but I saw an updated picture of her. Still got it, man. Shout out to her.
I am saying, sometimes I do be like, what are they?
What they look like now?
You get concerned. You're like,
I get curious.
Because they're not old. They're in their auntie
living life.
phases and they're living life. Shout out to Cherokee.
That scene. I mean, yeah. Going back to the empty house, horrific. I think the scene, the part that got me specifically is when she's the bomb, the jacket that Joel always wears. She's crying, and then Dina shouts out, and she's got to be like, "I'm good. What's up? I'm good."
That's Ellie's cloak. Then they sit down, and look. Dina offers her cookies to Ellie to eat.
right.
All right.
Need you to stop.
Stop.
I need you to relax.
Need you to stop.
She offers her cookies.
And then Ellie offers
Dina
a cookie back.
offers her a cookie back. I'm telling you.
Man, Lathan.
Let me tell y'all something right now. Y'all don't think these writers be fucking around. These writers be fucking around. The knitter thing, and then like these writers, hey, the cookie is either it's that, but it's also a communion that they're both taking. It's their pact.
Yeah.
Peace offering, I believe is what she said.
It's a peace offering for sure.
Yeah.
But there's subtext of I offer you, you offer me. Or no, I offer me you offer me you. They both do that. And then from the moment that they both eat the cookie and get their secrets out, they are the new team.
Locked up.
Well,
Yeah.
can I ask this? If I'm Jesse, do you think he saw like Dina like making the cookies? He's like, oh, it smells so good in the house because they back together now. He tries to get a cookie. She's like, it's not for you. And he's like, damn, I lost her again. She.
I mean, they're toxic as hell. They're off and on.
I mean, they
crazy.
talk about it in the first episode.
Jesse lost his. Jesse girl's gone.
It's over.
It's
I think so.
So hold on. It's over. She made her choice. She went on a kill mission with her, and then Ellie doesn't. I love this part of the show because the show has so many different levels. It's also this show could also be like 80s fucking teen
romp
love,
thing, yeah.
You know, because they're laying down and Ellie's like, you know, you were super drunk. It doesn't mean anything. And Dina goes, I wasn't that drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Dina really loves Ellie. Jesse is a placeholder. You know what I mean? To me.
I mean, I think she's like testing the waters with her for sure. Like,
Yeah,
she's
I
like,
think
wow,
so.
what would you rate the kid?
But she
It's
went
just
back
like a
to
6.
Jesse when she was when Ellie was in the hospital. You know what I mean? Like, look, situationships are tough.
Dina's
man.
a fuckboy. I'm gonna be so honest.
Absolutely.
She got a whole roster.
She's a hot mess.
She's
She's a hot mess.
Or it's the apocalypse.
Yeah.
A situationship in the
not gonna fuck
apocalypse,
itself.
though, man.
I mean,
it's
even
tough.
Jesse was kind of like, Jesse wasn't even tripping over it. He was like, hey, yo, Ellie.
It's a little
yo,
fucked
whatever,
up, but
bro.
you know.
But you got to notice about Jesse as well. Jesse has a real job to do.
Right. Yeah.
Jesse is like,
Actual responsibility.
like Jesse can't be worried about all of this can't hardly wait bullshit.
And he knows,
that's going
too.
on.
He
You know
knows
what I
that he's
mean?
got to tighten it up.
Jesse's like, yeah, love her, all of that. When Dina kissed Ellie, Jesse was like, hey, it's all gravy.
Yeah, whatever.
Jesse.
But that's how you know
Bigger
he's the
fish to
man.
fry,
He's
man.
the manager. He's like, I'm about to be the president of
You're
this
about to be the
motherfucker.
president.
He's like,
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
So Dina and Ellie are on their adventure. Horses have to.
Well, even this before they leave, right? They have that scene where Ellie's getting all the gear together.
Yeah.
And
Piece it up
Dina's
with
like,
Seth.
hold on, player. This is not gonna go down like that. You're not locked in. Here's what we gotta do. Here's what we gotta take. Forget the Converse. We're wearing boots. It gets cold as hell.
But that right there just shows you how much Dina has put, how much thought she's put into Ellie's safety.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? She's Ellie is a caretaker. Ellie is a hothead. Dina is a caretaker, and they are going to be good. But we now must talk about them leaving.
Right.
Every time we fucking try to leave, one of you guys goes. So they leave. I feel bad for horses to have to walk all the way to Seattle, but it is what it is.
Yes.
And I was really interested because I never played the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, that was the most video gamey part of it to me.
Like the road trip aspect?
I'll tell you why. It's because, like, with most shows, they wallow in the aftermath of Joel's death
Yeah.
and the assault on Jackson for a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
But this has to get, if you're playing a video game, you can't do that. You can't stay there and do the emotional part of it. The game must happen again.
Yeah.
So Ellie and Dina being on the road to Seattle is essentially them reinventing the formula of the video game from it being about Ellie and Joel to it being about Ellie and Dina.
And getting them back on the road.
Getting them back on the road, which is what the game is about. Now, in a game, that works perfectly. In a show, I was wondering if it was going to work. I was wondering, okay, so all of this just happened. Now, loading screen, we're back to essentially the show that the first season was. It ended up working, but I was like, God damn, they got right back to it.
Was it a bit of whiplash for you? I'm curious because to me, as somebody that played the game, I'm like, oh wow, they kind of luxuriated in the aftermath in Jackson before they hit the road.
I thought it was rushed. I was like, God damn. I was like, maybe it'll get on the road in the next episode. I thought the episode was gonna be like, she goes to Joel's grave, she has that big moment, and then we get another episode of them finally, and it was like, nah, they
and then they go.
I mean, so look, it worked, but I was like, oh shit, okay.
Well, so I'm not. I don't know if this will be a hard conversation to have, but like the thing that I was worried about at the end of the last episode kind of happened this episode, where it just to me was a fundamentally different show. Where I think when Dina and Ellie get on the horse, there was a level where it was like, it almost felt like YA, like young adult fiction-y, where I'm just like, not in a bad way.
It's got to be.
Hunger Games.
It's got to be that now.
Yeah, and it was
it
like,
has to be that. It's going to be young people fighting young people.
And it was like, that's like whiplash almost, because I feel like so much of the first season and the first story, because you're following Joel, it feels like a little bit more of an adult series. It wasn't even that it was bad. It's just, it was so kind of like, I was like, when probably the thought process you had when you're like, oh, they're back on the road. This is the version of the show. When it was like the two of them on the horse,
playing little
and
games
in the tent, and them being like cute and funny and developing this romance and all this stuff. It wasn't bad at all. It just didn't feel like The Last of Us. It felt like something a little different.
Is it the aesthetics of Abby and Dina and then just them being on the road, or is it the seemingly same formula of season one being them like
honest? They look like kids. Like, do you get what I mean? Like,
I completely get it.
I was just like, oh, these are, and maybe that's the point. I'm like, these are kids in the apocalypse.
That whole scene when they're like on the horse, I'm just like, I'm singing Rusted Root on Send Me On My Way, just in my head.
Send me on my way.
Like, I liked it.
I thought it worked though.
Yes.
I thought once it started, I was a little bit like, huh? But once they got a little bit more into their journey, you know, Dina understands when it's going to rain because she has special indigenous powers.
Oh,
and then
stop.
That's what they
What
made
is wrong with
That's
you?
what they made it seem like.
no,
That's
not
what that's
not
what-
just
that's-
like
that's
no.
what they-
Actually, what is
no,
Dina? What
bruh.
is Dina?
No, that's
what
a
they
thing.
do. That's what they do.
Look up. What
That's
is it?
what
I
they
wanna
do
know.
to people people of color in these shows.
Christ.
It's like there's
This
a
is
whole-
I actually, you got. I agree with you.
Right,
No,
like Dina
no,
knew it was
that's
gonna
not-
rain.
no.
They always do that
Powers.
thing where they like, oh, the wind's coming from the north.
You don't know.
That's
Gotta be a fit. All right, man.
Hey, there might be
They
a
do that!
Hey, we might get a tornado, massa. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's
Jesus
the whole shit.
Christ.
So, but then something else that I once again never played the game. So,
Right.
the special Joker people
Joker people.
that were massacred
Right.
by. We saw them before. We saw that they all have a tribal marking.
Right.
Or a marking of some group. Steve, you're gonna tell us, and then we see that they have been slain.
Yeah.
And they
by
have
something.
the hammers, like
The
they
hammers,
everybody has. It seems like a rite of passage.
Yeah.
Is it a spoiler to tell us the name of this group?
I
think so.
don't think it would be a name to say because these are what's known as the Seraphites. They're like a religious, like fundamentalist kind of cult. But they're like traveling. They have like special like a whistling language is how they survive out in the wild and stuff. They're like very like brutal in their like punishments and fundamentalist beliefs, but they're like also very like, you know, of the earth. They had like a prophet. They were like kind of just like one of these things that kind of stemmed off from an old like military salvo, and then they made a religion out of it.
That group that we saw they were kind of like walkabout, looked like they were heading towards Seattle. They end up decimated. And then Ellie and Dina come upon
Wait,
them.
can I just say this? Once he started talking about like the prophet, it's been like 30 years. I'm sorry. Motherfuckers are already being like, this person is telling the future. I'm like, my nigga Steve from Chicago, he don't know what the fuck he's talking about, you know?
He might. You never know.
Steve.
From Chicago.
Would you be a prophet?
Not for the
I'd be a
apocalypse.
prophet. Honestly, can you imagine? I'd be like, oh, Ben is gonna die tomorrow. And I'm just like,
So go kill Ben.
Go
shoot better than
everybody's like, oh my
has
God.
oh my God.
He died. Oh,
See? Y'all gotta watch Charles, man. That's some Waco
set us
branch
up.
division.
I know. If
division
I'm
shit.
being honest, if it's the third,
David
if it was my
Koresh is
plan, if it was my
crazy.
cult, I'd get the finest sister ever. Like, nice BBL.
Why
I'd
do
be
you-
like, you the prophet? Like,
this is what they do. This is bad. That's what they do.
What are you talking about?
Like, see, that's what these cults are about.
How
It's
do you
about
just-
some
by the way,
guy
how do you just get
that
one?
wants to have
What do you-
sex with all the women in the town.
No, I'm
Jesus
not trying to.
Christ.
I'm trying to say, like, yo, it's the fucking end of the world. It's the apocalypse. Everybody's dirty, smelling and shit. You find the finest sister, you be like, all right, you a prophet now. We're gonna put like a shroud on you. You're gonna start.
This is how the Bene Gesserit started. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
what are you-
honestly, shit. The Bene Gesserits, shit. Like, I'm getting my sisters. We drinking a blue drink. You know what I'm saying? We having a
Doing
baby.
witchcraft in the woods.
He's gonna be space.
What's that? How to
You ever see The Postman?
What? No.
Okay, so the Postman is I'm telling you, maybe the CIA is behind some of these movies.
Is this a Kevin Costner movie?
Yeah, so The Postman is a movie about it's post-apocalyptic,
Right.
and Kevin Costner gets people believing in civilization again by delivering the mail.
Okay.
That's what it's about. Like, he delivers the mail.
Right.
And because he delivers the mail, he becomes like a figure. He's kind of a charlatan, but he becomes a figure of great inspiration because he's the postman. He delivers the mail. They
Oh,
believe
this
in
is
him.
directed by Kevin Costner.
Okay,
All right.
yeah, that was when Kevin Costner has directed,
Yeah, many.
yeah, but like a lot of great movies. By the
Sure.
way. You act like you're hating.
I'm not trying to hate.
Okay, because I'm
You
I'm just saying, there's a lot. There's a lot of like
chill
Americana, like,
Chill on Kevin
like
Costner now.
right, Dances with Wolves, my nigga.
yeah, I get it.
But you know, in the apocalypse in The Postman, the bad guy is played by Will Patton. You
Mhm.
guys know Will Patton, right?
Yeah.
And he talks about the fact that in his past life, he fixed Xerox machines. He was
Yeah.
a Xerox machine salesman.
Mm-hmm.
And you always think about that. Because I would watch that. I would think about, yo, the apocalypse went bad, and then this guy put together this group of the apocalypse went bad. The apocalypse happened, and this guy became like the worst motherfucker in the world, the most shrewd, crazy
Right.
motherfucker in the world.
Mhm.
And he used to sell Xerox machines.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to break bad in the apocalypse? At this table right now, who would break bad in the apocalypse?
Jomi.
Jomi for
Absolutely.
sure.
Jomi for sure.
Jomi.
Yes.
For sure.
I'm
Yes.
dying immediately.
No.
No. Jomi's he would have.
I couldn't agree more.
Excuse
like
me?
Jomi,
Jomi for
yes.
sure
I'm
is
not
breaking
running
bad.
from zombies.
You are literally you a fucking Negan ass motherfucker. Have
Yeah.
a harem of
What?
women.
Because
Like,
you're so genteel and awesome now
You have a canon event that happens to you that just like
that just
breaks your
fucking
brain.
breaks your shit.
Yeah.
Jomi breaks bad in the apocalypse.
I don't
I
right
get
away.
mad. Me, Van, Steve, we come to
We'll
your
be
settlement.
straight.
We're like, oh, Jomi, is there any way we can
We
get
need-
some
we need-
food
we need to
and
plant
clothing,
corn
some shit?
again.
He's just like, kill him.
Yeah.
Get rid of him.
Yeah.
Get rid of him.
Yeah, like Jomi comes
Further
over to my
cannot be further from the
Jomi
truth.
comes over to my house. He's like, Van, we need munitions, we need weapons. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, I got some stuff. Like, yeah. Let me inspect what you have. And I'm like, here. He's like, I don't know how this works. Like, load it for me. And I'm like, okay, click. There's one in the chamber now, Chief Jomi.
Chief Jomi.
Boom! Just shoots me right
He's like,
there.
all right,
You want to
clear
know
it
the
out.
saddest
And
part?
then that's his sidearm.
This motherfucker would take Bozeman with him. He's like, you're mine.
Bozeman would love it too.
Yeah. He's like, you got
Where
treats
we
there?
going, Uncle Joe?
Cannot be further
He's
from the
got
truth.
armor on.
I
So-
die immediately.
So these people, then we make it to Seattle. We make it to Seattle. We see that they've all been killed. We don't know who killed them. We make it to Seattle. Seattle is in ruins. However, there is a military infrastructure that the Wolves have there.
Yeah.
And they have ridiculous resources.
Yeah.
How in the fuck? Like, is Abby fucking not Abby? Is Ellie John Wick?
She gonna have to be.
It's like
She gonna have to
it's
be.
like how the fuck is she gonna get? First of all, find Abby. How's she gonna find Abby and all of that? It's a major American city that's been left to ruins.
Mhm.
And then these motherfuckers got tanks. Like that was a great scene because I'm literally looking at all the stuff that they have. They've rebranded these tanks with their insignia. They're walking with all of these people. And I'm thinking to myself, I know that there has to be this struggle that's going to happen, but what are they about to do? Are they going to turn around and go back to Jackson?
I would.
What happens?
Like, they got tanks, man. It's kind of looking. It's looking
I mean,
bad.
even here's this is why also it's a dummy mission to me. If I'm the council, I'm like, this dumb motherfucker is about to lead this army back to our enclosure. Like, because basically Ellie and Dina were kind of just like, how many of them could there be? And I'm just like, I don't know. They seem very well trained. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of them.
Is there a point? Because I don't know what the headquarters of the Wolves look like right now.
Yeah.
Right? They're on patrol. I don't know if they have a place. Everybody looked healthy. So obviously there's sustenance there. Obviously they must have found a way to grow whatever. But is this a situation where maybe Ellie has a point that is actually proactive for them to go up there and fuck over them because now they know where the people in Jackson are, and if they get a little froggy, maybe they send some guys over there.
Because they did see, Abby's people were looking at the compound, and they're like, God damn, they have because that's what I was like, do they not have that in Seattle? Because they're like, they have electricity, they have this, they have that. If I go back to the WLF, I'm like, hey, yo, look, we take a tank over there. We ambush them at night. We got free corn. Nigga got so much corn.
I don't know how far you can get a tank from Seattle.
I don't know if you can be able to drive a tank from Seattle to
Yeah.
Wyoming, but maybe.
I mean,
You can't stop,
motherfuckers
get
in
gas.
Andor put some ropes on his I was
sorry,
dragging
pushing
it.
that motherfucker,
Yeah.
motherfucker. So look, and then we end with, to me, what the show is about, which is terror and grandiosity, which is kind of what the show is about.
Yeah.
Terror and grandiosity. Like you have and wonder. You have Abby and Abby, I keep calling her Abby. Ellie and Dina in a new place. They're looking out amongst this place. You see the ruins of the society and the civilization that once was. You see this huge threat, and you also have some mystery because you're wondering who killed these Seraphites. So the show got to a point to where this was really a new pilot.
Yeah.
This was a second pilot episode. You could argue that the first two episodes of the season were a continuation of the last season, and this was really the pilot episode of the second season of the show.
How do you think people will and not the bad faith actors, like if you're just someone who was watching the show, maybe didn't know Joel was going to die, how do you think they're going to feel about this pilot and them being so kind of unceremonious about all right, now that we got that out of the way, here's our new story? Because I was just like, it was jarring for me, and I knew it was going to happen.
I don't know, although I will say that was the work of the show and the creative team to make people, it's a delicate dance to make people care about Joel's death, but also be connected to the show in his absence. And we'll see, particularly in the next episode, not even in this one, because his DNA was still all over it. I know we're going to see Joel again, but whether or not they could do that, whether or not the new story that they're telling is going to resonate with people. And that's
there's a third season as well. So
certainly, yeah.
HBO and the creators must have a feeling like not only do we have enough story to tell to make a third season, but we trust in the actors and the world that we've built that we can get you back on board after the Joel thing. Yeah. And I mean, if I'm going to be honest, if there's an MVP for the season, I was just like, oh, the actress that plays Dina is so charming.
She's really
and
good.
So magnetic that I'm just like,
yeah.
even though it's not filling the Joel role, I'm like, oh, there's somebody for Ellie to play off of that. I'm like interested.
A new dynamic. A new dynamic. Well, mid-boys, what do you guys think?
I mean, something you said earlier, Charles, about the difference between Jackson Hole and Seattle. I think when they were like looking and being like, oh, they got generators, they got electricity, they got all this. It's less about like all the stuff they have. It's the fact that it looks like a community, right? It looks like these people have like banded together to do something for the greater good versus just like take over a city and you come up, we gonna bomb y'all, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna start shooting. Like very much ran like a military versus like a family. I think is when they're like looking out at Jackson and go, oh man, y'all really like each other over there. That's real cute. We ain't really got that over there. We beefing all the time. I think like that's a core difference. And I'm interested to see if, or I'm sure when Ellie and Dina, you know, try to sneak up and handle business with Abby, how different it is for them. Because again, it looks like there's a lot of people who will kill them if they try to like step out of line. And so like you can't, I don't know if you do the whole Abby thing where like, oh, I'm helpless, look at me, I need help, come save me type act. How do they infiltrate Seattle?
Well, they've seen them. So you can't do that.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You can't do that.
Yeah.
And so it looks like they gonna need some help that's not coming.
I'm gonna be honest though, if it's the apocalypse, of all the places you could live, I'm not living in Seattle. I'm like
we had this conversation. You had this conversation again.
What?
First it was Jackson Hole. Now
Then
it
it
was
was-
Seattle.
Bro, I'm going to like a nice suburb. Like, why am I going to the ruins of a city? There's nothing happening there. There's no TGI Fridays anymore. You know what I'm saying? There's no nothing.
But you got more stuff there, more resources to pick over.
Yeah.
But you also got more infected, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere that there are people, there's going to be infected.
Why can't I go to the
Trying
Hollywood Hills, get like nice, like little bachelor pad, whatever?
Huh?
You're acting like
Bad
there's
brother.
still Wi-Fi, man. Like
But
you
the
gotta
problem
get
with the
food.
Hollywood Hills is that you're going to have to go up and down the hill by foot. You ain't got no car.
Wait, can a horse go up the Hollywood Hills?
They probably
Yeah,
could.
like-
Huh?
Yeah, but that's
get a
bad
horse.
for their joints.
I mean, shut the
It's-
fuck up.
You got to turn them into glue sooner rather than later. I
Yeah.
think,
You gotta
so.
retire
I
early.
mean, I will say that my last thing, I hate when shows do this, when you take the real racist character or the homophobic character, and then you're like, yeah, he's helping him out now. He's like, take this, and I was like, I was with Ellie. I was like, fuck you.
That's why I said, is he overcompensating? Like, is he doing too much? He like,
That was the moment where I was
Well,
like,
she
they
shook his
always
hand, but
do
it's still
that,
kind of
bro.
fuck you. But you know,
I mean, he showed out for her. At that
He-
point, you got to
they
let bygones. You know
traded
what I'm saying?
rifles. Like, you
Trade
don't want
right?
this one,
It was better.
you
There's a
know?
better
So-
rifle. Click, clack,
That was
click.
also. Does that happen in the video game? They're like, here's an upgraded rifle for you.
Well, no, a bigot doesn't hand you a better rifle. No, that doesn't happen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You
for
happen
asking.
upon a rifle, and you can like modify it and like build it.
And
like,
that's
build
more
it.
realistic.
No, I'm not saying that. Wait,
I mean,
the
there are-
show being more
I like-
realistic.
can I
Mushroom
tell you something?
zombies.
You know what I like? I like the fact that Ellie was going on a trek to Seattle, and she brought all weapons,
Nothing else.
no cupcakes.
No.
Like
Not
she
enough
brought.
food.
That's all- you don't
She
need
brought
that.
hardtack though.
She brought. Yeah, she hardtack.
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 See,
Interesting. Gross.
They had
Yes.
hardtack.
But also, it didn't seem like they had much food. I'm like, what the fuck they eating out? Like, if it's me, I'm like, we can get rid of some of the grenades. And let's put some steaks out. Because I would have been like the Seth.
Steak
I'm like, you got
sandwiches.
some steak sandwiches
gonna-
first? Like, I like
It was-
the rifle,
yeah.
but
It's going to go
How come
bad
we
within
never
2
see
days.
people fishing in the show? Shouldn't they be fishing? Do they fish?
I mean, how much
They
time
have
do you want to
fished.
spend with them watching them fish? You
I want to
just
see. I want to see
whole
somebody
episode
catch
of
a
just
fish.
them.
catch one fish.
I want to see them fish. That's enough. Good episode of television, guys.
Yeah,
Yes.
great episode.
Good fucking episode of TV.
Mm.
All in on where The Last of Us is going. Interested to see when Joel pops back up in flashbacks and how they use him. I'm sure you guys know because you played the game.
Uh-huh.
But interesting to see that. But also at the same time, I think I'm good saying goodbye to Joel.
what?
It is kind of interesting how the show moves forward without him, and you're like, it's kind of it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
I want to
working.
see. I need to see what Abby's cooking. Like, where's Abby been the last 3 months?
Yeah.
Has she gotten a little flabby now that she's finally had the thing? She's kicked back. She's like, I completed the mission. You know what I'm saying?
Flabby Abby
Because
is crazy.
if I'm being honest, the training montage with Ellie was the shit. I'm like, you hit a punching bag a couple
Yeah.
times. You on the road, like
She
you
was
not
doing-
ready for it
She was
yet.
doing push-ups and crunches when the doctors weren't
All right.
looking in the hospital.
Good straight right, though.
So,
Good straight right.
Mhm.
yeah.
I
But
thought
that-
it looked good. Good straight right. Look, I see, you watch enough TV and movies, and you see guys that were throwing a football like the dude and
Right.
and it's like, but I thought she threw a decent little straight right. I was surprised.
Handle business. Y'all was
Handle
hating.
business.
She handling business.
All right, we're out of here. That is a wrap this week on the Ringiverse feed. Ringiverse Button Mash returns on Mondays. Tuesday, Ringiverse recommends returns. I can't wait. You guys have stuff you're gonna recommend?
Yeah, buddy.
And on Wednesday, the Midnight Boys react to the latest episodes of Andor. That is a show about rebel spy Cassian Andor. Okay, it's an insurgency that's happening against Emperor Palpatine.
Okay.
In the galaxy.
Yeah.
And it's Lathan.
Okay.
And it's Cassian.
I don't know what this is.
And it's Bix.
Yes.
And they're going forward.
Okay.
You guys might want to tune into it. You might want to tune in to Disney Plus to watch Andor, and then tune in here as the Midnight Boys cover it.
Yeah.
Okay? The fuck I'm talking about. Tune in, God damn it.
All right.
Our producers are Steve, the architect Ahlman, Jonathan Kermah, Jomi Adeniran on socials, hashtag I saw the Jomi glow.
I saw the Jomi glow. That's good.
And in the apocalypse, Jomi will probably take your hoe.
Hell yeah.
Additional production from Arjuna, Ramgopal. Chuck, take us out.
Dina has a strong indigenous spirit. Where we're going in season 2, we'll see. Shout out to an icon of the sport, Miss Cherokee.
Perfect.
Nope, that's the
Want some
wrong-
movie theater popcorn?
Movie theater popcorn.
They just have that. They just be selling that. Everybody can get movie theater popcorn everywhere.
Yeah, you can order it
Yeah.
from Postmates.
Like an AMC.
Yeah, you can order
Like,
it from Postmates.
It's not gonna be cold.
Send me a.
Well, I mean, there's two things you can do. Number
Uh-huh.
one, if you order from a movie theater nearest to
Right.
you, it's not that bad. Depending on, but the Grove is hit or miss because it takes those guys a while to get in there.
I can't imagine that travels well.
But when you get it, you put it in the air fryer.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Pops right back up. It's now
Air fryers are just.
if it was like fucking like 5 hours, I'm sure. But like if you get it,
Yeah.
you put it in the air fryer. Me and Kalika will have movie night,
Mhm.
and we'll get the stuff. She'll even get an icy.
Instead of making popcorn yourself.
Yeah, because the movie theater popcorn is just better.
I
I mean, you could get the kernels and get the
Well, I have a popcorn maker.
very true.
Yeah, but you can use that popcorn maker in your house. I feel like it's going to smell like popcorn for days.
So this is gonna sound so stupid.
Okay.
Do you know the reason why I don't use the popcorn maker?
Why?
Because it triggers me and reminds me of the pandemic. The popcorn maker.
Oh,
I got
you were
on
using
my
a lot of the
40th
pandemic?
Birthday. Yeah,
Okay.
and that was during the pandemic, and I was making a lot of popcorn
Uh-huh.
because it was like
It's something to do.
something
That was your sourdough start?
that was my
Yeah.
sourdough.
Yeah.
Your whipped coffee was.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
And so I was making a lot of popcorn, and like we would watch. What's that movie with Chris Hemsworth? That came out on Netflix during the pandemic.
Extraction?
So, we're gonna watch Extraction, right? We're gonna sit there and we're gonna watch Extraction. Let's make some popcorn, watch Extraction. So you're watching it, and you're like, "This is not the shit."
Yeah, it's
I like
not.
the extraction.
I'm not talking about the movie.
Right.
I'm talking about we made popcorn. Yeah,
We're at the movies.
We're watching Extraction. Yeah, it's dark. Yeah, this is not the shit.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Okay. And so I was making so much popcorn smell the whole time. And now when I make that fucking when I use that popcorn machine, it reminds me
You
of
get war flashbacks?
It reminds me of the pandemic. I swear to God. So
Tough.
I order it and, put in a Black Panther tin or whatever I still have.